Welcome back to Major League Pickleball by Margaritaville, Daytona Beach. Stop number 2 on the 2023 season. We've got our first quarterfinals matchup out here on Grandstand Court between Columbus and Chicago Slice. I'm Chad Edwards. Joining me in the booth is Kyle McKenzie.
Thank you for having me, Chad. Excited to be here. This is my first MLP, first time live, and I've just been taking in the atmosphere this last hour. It is electric. I'm excited to get going here.
Well, it's great to have you, Kyle, and we're going to have a fantastic matchup here. Both these teams making their way through bracket play yesterday, going 2-1. Columbus having a chance to go 3-0, but the Ranchers threw a wrench in the works yesterday, beating them in a tiebreaker for our final match of the day yesterday. And then Chicago Slice started off the day with a little bit of a slow start, losing their first one to the Utah Black Diamonds, but winning their next 2 to make their way through to the quarterfinals. Chicago had a very good run in Mesa. The bus, not so much, going from last place to the quarterfinals here. So a good trade with Megan Fudge, wouldn't you say, Carl?
Yeah, absolutely. A brand new team. They seem energized here, and they look ready to compete right now.
So we're going to get underway here with women's doubles. Megan Fudge, Millie Rane for Columbus. Susannah Barr and Emily Ackerman for Chicago Slice. We've just got referees organizing some last-minute information here. So one of the big things here in the quarterfinals is if a team goes 3-0, the match is done. We did switch back for bracket play, that all 4 matches were played, but here we're going to go 3-0 and done. Fudge to serve.
Ooh. Very tight, very tight.
And that was, yeah. Megan Fudge asking us here in the booth. That was close. I'm kind of standing on the line, but I learnt from yesterday I'm not going to make any calls. Good ball there from Fudge.
Yeah, an interesting setup here too, Chad. Columbus building around, that top female and Megan Fudge, but having her play the right side, kind of a different dynamic, not the traditional strong side for her.
Oh, Susannah Barr, known as the net guard, gets her first net roller of this game.
Right on cue for her reputation there, Chad.
A tough spot there for Ackerman, trying to lob up and over Millie Rane.
Yeah, and I think that's a pattern we're going to see a decent amount here in this match, Chad. I think that Ackerman and Rane are going to try to dink up the line a bit to one another.
Oh, Millie Rane catching that one late.
Yeah, I think she wanted to hold that a little bit longer to be able to go up the line, but you do run the risk of letting that ball drop just a touch lower.
Couple of errors creeping in for Rane right here. Still a feeling out process right now, would you say, Kyle?
Yeah, I think definitely early on. I think that they've just got to remember to give themselves bigger targets, especially when they're in a position of strength with their opponent's back.
A good spot there from Ackerman, handcuffing Rane right on the right hip.
Yeah, did a great job of dropping the head of that paddle to be able to clear the net. Took a little pace off, all about location, not power on so many of these attacks.
It's a better spot there from Megan Fudge. You talked about Ackerman and Rane going down the line there. Ackerman trying to change stuff up and go cross-court, but Fudge pulling that trigger. That ball's out. So we saw Megan Fudge throw up her hands there in the middle of the point, wanting to make note of the distraction, the come on in the middle of that point. That's one of the things here with Major League Pickleball that is a new introduction to it.
Yeah, that idea of a hindrance certainly comes into play a lot more here. Sometimes not even just the players on court, but their teammates getting excited. But we have to keep that in check. See what the referees say here.
It's a distraction, not a hindrance. Yes, it is. It is a distraction. So Susannah Barr just kind of saying, yes, I did say come on, but it was more. It's such a fine line there with that, right? The come on isn't really a player communication.
Right, right. Well, the thing that I would wonder about here, Chad, is, you know, if I'm Susannah Barr, is do they need to call that right away? Several shots were still played. The point was still played out. Can they take it away from them now? We'll see.
So Rane and Fudge still having a discussion here. So head referee Laura Smart still continuing to discuss the potential of the distraction call there in the middle of the point from Susannah Barr on the overhead.
Yeah, Fudge seems to be making the case that she threw her hands up in the air. She attempted to bring notice to the distraction, kind of saying what else could she have done. Got Barr and Ackerman in the background, just trying to keep warm, doing a little touch volley warm up here, trying to make sure they have their best no matter what the call is.
So just listening to the discussion out there on court, it does come down to the referee's discretion as far as calling a distraction. A player can make note of it and call that distraction. Fudge saying, yes, I did put my hands up. But unfortunately in this situation, neither referee heard the come on from Susannah Barr.
Again, I think that's what makes it tough for them to make the call now, is there were several shots after that happened. It's kind of one of those things where it's tough if you don't call it right away to then take it away later on. But again, we'll defer to the experts here.
So the decision there is that on this situation, there's not going to be a distraction call made. However, it has now been brought to the attention of the referees to listen for. That ball's a little wide.
Yeah, and I don't mind Rane taking a little bit more of a cut as that drive sat up. But again, you never want to miss wide. More important to just aim for those feet. Keep it north and south when you have that positional advantage.
Oh, nice hands there from Emily. Ackerman setting up with not the deepest of lobs.
Well, she held her ground, and she was able to use her fast hands to still stay in control there. Great hands by Ackerman.
So Rane definitely the target here for Chicago Slice. Yeah, and we saw the stack switch there. Fudge sliding over to the left. Rane sitting that one up for Susannah Barr.
Yeah, it looked to me like Rane just didn't fully commit on that attack there. Anytime we get caught between an aggressive dink and an attack, it's usually not a great result.
Ball's just a little wide. Barr trying to push Rane off the court a little too far. Ackerman having success with the lob again. So Chicago Slice out in front 11-5 at the end change here. Kyle, from what we've seen, what does Columbus need to do to try and close this gap and kind of get back into control of this match?
Well, I think it's a little too easy right now for the Slice to game plan. They're putting a heavy diet of balls to Rane right now, and she's just not playing her best. I would consider that switch of putting Fudge on the left, just even temporarily, just to sometimes build the confidence of that player that's seeing a lot of balls and just change the geometry and the dynamic a little bit here, Chad.
And Columbus here at the end change has that option of switching sides for Fudge and Rane. Players can switch sides of the court either at end changes or during timeouts. So we'll see here if Rane and Fudge stay how they were or they're going to make that change. I mean, one thing I would say is that Columbus needs to do a lot more with the balls when they're giving it. Right now, Rane's kind of playing catch with Ackerman. She's not really putting any pressure on. And Ackerman's doing a good job of, one, setting up Susannah Barr for a couple of finishes there, but also mixing in the lob, pulling Rane off the court.
Yeah, they certainly seem to be varying their patterns a little bit better here for the Slice.
So even the movement there from Rane putting a little bit more pressure on Ackerman.
Yeah, and Fudge really looking to control the center even from that right side. Well played.
So a couple of quick points here for the Slice on the end change. Cutting that lead down to 4. Oh, Megan Fudge with the incredible get there in the middle of the point to keep them in it.
And Susannah Barr went left-handed for the counter at one point, ultimately not able to handle that speed up into the body.
It's in. Oh my goodness.
Amazing defense there by the slice, but fantastic point construction throughout that entire point by the bus there. Fantastic point.
Oh, too good there from Emily Ackerman, absorbing all the pace on that one. Fudge not able to get there.
And I like the choice. Right now the defense is really, really dialed in. Every now and then, if you can't get 2 or 3 smashes through, it is worth it to take that risk to bring it in short. Nicely done there by Ackerman.
What is going on right now? My goodness, Susannah Barr with the reverse.
Little scorpion action.
Scorpion
Yeah,
action.
yeah.
It was like out in, I don't know. That was funky right there. Oh, wow. I don't know if Rane lost that ball or she was thinking about letting it go, but not what you would expect on a floating ball there to get jammed up.
Yeah, she was going to where Barr was trying to hit it and very surprised by the miss hit. Just caught an awkward spot on her body as she was transitioning. Yeah.
And that's a good setup there from Ackerman. I mean, Fudge stepping over that far to try to cover 3/4 of the court.
Loved her technique moving forward, too. Took a little bit more of a swing on the first one, kept her elbow in very tight for that recounter. Beautifully done.
But just rolling over that one too much, catching the net cord. So Rane serving at 11-4. Oh, nice dig there by Millie Rane, and then the couple of attacks to finish that one off. Wind seems to be picking up a little bit as we're moving through this one. Rane did a good job there of taking that step back to try to counter, recognizing the ball that floated from Fudge.
Yeah, and all these ladies now seem to have turned a gear. They're initiating a lot more, trusting their hands. I expect to see a lot more hand battles to decide this the winner of this match.
And so a couple of quick points here from the slice. Bus calling a timeout. Slice up 16-12. So we've seen the bus make a couple of changes. They were moving the ball around a little bit better, but at times more aggressive. But the slice have been able to keep that lead. What do they need to keep doing to close this one out?
Yeah, I think rather than wait to be attacked, it seems like the teams that are willing to pull the trigger in a calculated manner are just getting enough of that edge that they're winning the majority of the hand battles right now. You know, in women's doubles, a lot of times the court positioning is a little bit different. Players are playing a little bit off the line, so you feel like if you can attack and anticipate where their counter is going to go, you have just that split-second reaction time to gain the advantage, Chad.
Yeah, one of the things we discussed yesterday, it's kind of like MLP brings out more aggression in players, right? The energy, the team atmosphere, just the heightened environment in general. Typically players that are a little bit more patient or defensive minded, they're now coming out and being the attackers.
Yeah, I think that if you feel that it's effective when opponents are doing it to you, it makes you think, oh, maybe I should be doing it as well.
Little indecision there from Barr.
Yeah, and we've really seen Rane clean up a lot of her errors that she had early on, giving her team a chance to mount the comeback here.
Yeah, it's a good spot there from Susannah Barr. Choosing the right ball, going right into the body of Fudge.
Yeah, got her right on that right hip where it's very awkward to be able to punch that, that one-handed backhand.
Yeah, good job there from Rane. Little tentative on a couple of those from Ackerman, kind of just floating them. Oh, Rane recognized it, but too big of a backswing on that one.
Yeah, and I like what Ackerman did there. She kept Fudge honest, threw one ball cross court, was able to open up the court to be able to attack Rane there.
Not sure what happened there with Barr.
Yeah, I think Barr's going for a little bit more spin and more of a heavy ball than Rane is, but if you catch a little too much of the ball, it can lose the accuracy fast.
Oh, Ackerman trying to go with the misdirect behind Rane. We saw Fudge in the middle of the point there. She was kind of like, did I play two out balls?
Right.
Both of those balls from Susannah Barr are looking a little too deep. It's like the wind pushed that drop down just a little bit.
Yeah, Ackerman has a really penetrating slice return. When she gets good depth, it really makes that, that third shot challenging.
Ackerman, I'm okay with that aggressiveness there. The ball was up a little bit, but kind of a late decision, I think.
It looked like she didn't quite have her feet under her there. A little off balance, in my opinion.
That ball's deep. So Columbus now able to close that lead to 1. 18-19. That's all square. Timeout here from the slice. It's been the difference in the last couple of points here for the Bus.
Well, I think, like I said, I think it's really come down to Rane. She's just cleaned up her game, especially on the counter. She seems to be seeing the ball a lot bigger. It's taking more quality shots to win a point here from the slice. And so I think that the Bus have really grooved into their style. I think now's the time for the slice to change their tactics a little bit. I think they've got to go out wide to Fudge, to open up the middle, to open up more holes to be able to attack. But now that Rane's playing so solid, it's really not doing enough for them, just staying every ball on her. They want to get both players moving laterally a little bit more here.
Yeah, they've kind of locked themselves into playing that half-court pickleball there, and Fudge hasn't really been tested out wide.
Right.
The couple of times that we did see that, you know, she was a little iffy as far as the balls that she was giving back.
Yeah, because she's not playing the right side like that typical setup right side player. She's clogging the middle, so there is some space going out wide to her forehand to just keep her a little bit more honest there.
Good return there from Barr. Rane not able to pick that one up. So Chicago Slice frozen now at 20. Well, both teams frozen now. can feel how tight the slice are right now. It seems like Columbus is playing a little bit looser, and the slice have gotten a little bit tighter.
Yeah, when you feel that lead kind of slipping away, not sure what you should do tactically. Definitely the momentum with the bus at the moment.
Yeah, and you could see it there with Susannah Barr. The ball before, that's something that she'd usually speed up and roll, and she kind of just pushed it back. It floated.
Yeah, I think, again, the score, there's a tendency to want to be maybe just a little safer when the score gets tight. We talked about the teams being aggressive early on, but at the end of the match, we don't want to make those errors. It affects the shot selection, absolutely.
So all square here at 20s. A good spot there from Barr and good counter.
Yeah, it just took a controlled speed up to the middle, but anticipated that that counter would likely come to her forehand. Easy cleanup ball.
Good decisions there by Fudge. She kind of sold it a little bit by going softer with those two balls that popped up, and then I think Barr thought she was going to go soft that third time.
Yeah, the level's getting to the point where it's like baseball pitching, right? If you can vary your spins and speeds on your attack, you can throw off the timing of those counter punches.
And just a little deep there from Rane. Good ball to drive, but didn't quite set herself up right. Rane missing that somewhat easy dink into the net. That brings up game point here for Chicago Slice.
I like the adjustment that Rane did there. She slid all the way over, didn't settle for the backhand. She knows that Fudge has her, helping her in the middle. She can play a few more forehands if she's aggressive with her footwork on that left side.
Now, good spot there from Ackerman. We saw Rane step to the middle. But that little misdirection down the line gives them another game point opportunity. Oh, Ackerman. She wants that one back.
Yeah, it looks like she read it and was sitting on it, just couldn't quite convert. And the bus stay alive here, Chad.
Well, the back and forth battle continues. Fudge serving at 20-21, trying to even this one back up. Yeah, it's a good speed up there from Ackerman. Fudge's ball just floating a little too high. Oh, I think Barr hit an out ball there, but it doesn't matter. Ackerman closing it out for the slice. Good effort from the bus just to bring that one back.
Yeah, they started slow. They gained the momentum, but ultimately, great job from the slice of holding strong, especially when things get tight. We've all been there where we feel a lead slipping away, but they settled their nerves and were able to come out with the win.
Well, Chicago Slice going up 1-0 after women's doubles. We're going to have our men's doubles matchup here shortly. We are going to mute our mics for a little bit while they warm up, and we will be right back here with men's doubles at MLP by Margaritaville, Daytona Beach. Back here for game number 2 of this quarterfinals matchup between the Chicago Slice and the Columbus Pickleball Club. Slice going up 1-0 after women's doubles. The bus trying to square it up here. Yeah, it's a good spot from Garnett. I will say Garnett has a much better two-handed backhand than he does a forehand, but people still feed it to him all the time.
Yeah, most people are just used to bringing people out wide for that being the normal safe zone. Certainly not the case with Connor Garnett.
And DeHeart just a little wristy on that one. Kind of didn't get enough push to get over the net. A good ball there from DeHeart. Carl, you and I were talking in the break there. It didn't even cross our minds, but husband and wife on opposite sides here. Ooh, I think that ball may have been wide, but I'm not going to call it.
Yep. They played on. Great get from DeHeart. Yeah, kind of the joke we were joking about is, you know, ask the kids, are they the team mom or team dad right now? I know what my kids would say at home, so.
All mom, right?
All mom, definitely.
Yeah, good reach in there from Klinger. Obviously, Ryler DeHeart and Megan Fudge, the couple that we were talking about. That ball just never came up. DeHeart, a little off-pace return.
Yeah, Klinger doing the right thing by just trying to drop and not drive that ball, but it stayed so low.
A good spot there from Klinger. Garnett trying to really crash that kitchen, but getting caught. Still in the transition.
Anytime you see him have to take that one hand off the paddle, you know you've probably done your job.
A good spot there from Klinger. Carl, you picked up that CJ using the 002 for Selkirk. You're a Selkirk guy.
Yeah, so that's going to be the top of the line as far as power goes. So he's clearly making that choice to choose a paddle that's going to help him in those fast hand battles and maximize his counterpunching.
A little bit of love from the net there for Yates Johnson. Kicking up and over the paddle of Garnett. That ball just a little deep.
And for Garnett, this is the first time I've seen him use the Pro XR paddle. So I'm not sure if this is the first tournament for that, but he had been using the Yola.
Yep. Saw him using the Yola yesterday.
Yeah, and that's where Connor Garnett really is his superpower. He has the ability to find different spots on people's bodies, stepping back and ripping two-handed backhands.
Oh, big forehand there from Garnett. Good setup there from DeHeart. Ooh, nice little move there from DeHeart.
Yeah, and all four of these players are good singles players, and so we're seeing that a little bit of that in the tempo here. A lot more third shot drives, a lot more shake and bake, trying to really pressure that volley with those low drives.
Oh my goodness. Garnett saying all day after that one, just reading the mid-pace speed up from Klinger.
Yeah, he knew that was huge. It looked like Klinger had some space. Great job by Garnett of closing the gap and straightening that one out.
I really like the aggression from the slice here. They're really putting the pressure on Columbus early.
They're doing a great job of communicating, too. They've got that righty-lefty, both forehands in the middle. Specifically, Ryler DeHeart is saying you, yours.
And good spot there from Yates Johnson. So slice up by 4 here. And Garnett just saying, none of that. I'm going to see your third shot drive, and I'm going to answer it with a big forehand. So the slice up 11-6 at the end change here. Carl, what do you think the change for Columbus has to be going into the second half of this game?
Well, I think you really want a game plan around Connor Garnett. He's got more firepower of the two, so I would avoid neutral dinks to him. If you're going to dink to him, make it aggressive so it's challenging for him to speed up. And just knowing his game well in a lot of rec games, the shake and bake is not a great play against him.
No.
He tends to swing on the volleys a little bit, and so it's very hard when that poacher disconnects to deal with that extra aggressive volley. So I would maybe go a little bit more the patient route, try to focus on getting to the kitchen and manufacturing a few more points. Tough to do when you're facing that aggression on the other side, but I think it's their best chance to climb back into this match.
And one of the interesting points that you brought up, and we actually discussed it a little bit yesterday, is the transition of singles into the doubles game now. There's much more power infused into doubles. So a lot of the players have started training singles to help their doubles game, which isn't something you'd typically say. Oh, good spot there from DeHeart.
Yeah, and you saw how Yates was trying to change direction and go up the line, but that is less of a distance, much easier to leave that ball just up a little bit high.
That one, not as good of a speed up.
Yeah, I think that was a little bold there from DeHeart, trying to go into the pancake grip there of CJ Klinger.
And Johnson's ball kind of floated enough that DeHeart thought he could reach in and attack that one, but by the time he got there, a little too flat. And we hear Yates discussing the wind. I think the wind's kind of swirling a little bit. And it's not as strong as what it was in women's doubles. A little unlucky there for Klinger.
Yeah, and I think right now, if you're the bus, if you can bring these points to neutral, I'd like to see some trigger pulls. I'd like to see a little bit of offense. They seem to be a bit on their heels at the moment.
That ball sails deep, so we're going to get a timeout here from Columbus. Yeah, for Columbus, kind of not what we've seen over the last, well, day with their group play yesterday. They're a little tentative on some of these balls. They're giving back, that dead dink to DeHeart and Garnett. I think you're in a situation now, you're down by 7. Take some risks, right?
I agree. Again, I think obviously you don't want to be speeding up when you're falling backwards off of an aggressive dink from your opponents. But when they get into that just patient mode and the dinks are more neutral, I think you really want to be in that mindset of, okay, we need to look to dictate whatever that is. That might be aggressive dinking. It might be speed ups. But like you said, can't lose anything at this point. Take some chances.
So Garnett to serve here with the slice up, 15-8. All right, even on that good counterattack there from CJ Klinger off of the speed up from DeHeart, Garnett's just ready.
He has lightning fast hands, and when you have that superpower, you can go from defense to offense with one well-timed volley.
And good eye there from Klinger. Kind of okay from the speed up from DeHeart there.
What's been working going cross court at Klinger, even some of his not great speed ups usually go to Garnett on that counter. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't mind it.
DeHeart calls out. Garnett says
Garnett
in.
said in. Yeah, let's see how this one ends up. They each made opposite calls.
So I think we may get it. All right, we got a referee conference here, so I'm going to turn to our booth expert referee as far as what's the situation here. Okay, so the information we're getting right now is with one player calling it out, one player calling it in. That ball should be in.
And I think what's tough here is if you're Garnett is, you know, it's common where you say, okay, well, I didn't really see it. I wasn't sure, but my partner called it out. The problem is Garnett made the in call, so tough for him to say, well, I didn't see it well, because he did make that call.
Yeah, it was almost at the exact same time that DeHeart called it out. Garnett called it in.
You hear Ellin telling his team to make the ball bounce. I think he's referencing we got to get to the kitchen first, then look to be aggressive, not try too many early trigger pulls when we're out of position, just against this team here.
Referee Laura Smart just making sure she's got the scorecard correct. That ball's just a little wide. I like the pressure for Klinger there, but perhaps trying to do a little too much.
Yeah, I think he wasn't fully at the kitchen line yet, so I would focus on just getting there first, then look to push those dinks a little bit more wide.
DeHeart missing that drive into the net. Little uncharacteristic from what we've seen of him so far. Oh. Big counter there from DeHeart. That's kind of the risk of that shake and bake, right?
Yeah, it's definitely the risk. I like the play of Klinger there. I think he's got to go at him, but pretty tough to be able to volley that into the open court. Nicely done by DeHeart.
Yeah, Johnson not too happy with himself after that one. I won't repeat what he just said in our direction. Oh, got his paddle though.
Yeah, Klinger trying to get out of the way there. That one's definitely going to be going out, but not a lot of reaction time, especially when you're thinking about some of these having to hit the volley on.
So game point here for Chicago Slice, up 20-11. That ball's out. So the Slice taking this one 20-11. Pretty dominant performance there as they go up 2-0 going into mixed doubles. What's Columbus got to look to do?
I think they have to take early chances. Obviously, you have to play within your own skill set, but I think whatever your kind of aggressive style is, whatever you're capable of doing, you need to look to draw on that early. They've kind of come out both matches a little bit on their heels, and that's really been the difference for the Slice so far. So if you're the Bus, you really got to take chances early, set the tone. At this point, it's go time for them.
Yeah, it kind of do or die here, being down 2-0. Well, we're going to take a little bit of a break here while both teams figure out their mixed doubles lineups, and we'll be back here shortly for game number 3 in this quarterfinal matchup between Chicago Slice and the Columbus Pickleball Club at Major League Pickleball My Margaritaville, Daytona Beach. So it looks like our mixed doubles pairings are all set here, with Yates, Johnson, and Megan Fudge out on the court for Columbus Pickleball Club, and Connor Garnett and Susannah Barr for Chicago Slice. Kyle, you and I were just having a little bit of a discussion here in the break as far as Connor Garnett, kind of a little bit of a different breed when it comes to what you have to do to try to neutralize some of his power. It'll be interesting to see the approach for Johnson and Fudge.
Yeah, and if you're Johnson and Fudge here, we talked about being more aggressive, but aside from that, I'd recommend just bringing a lot of energy, period, early on to kind of change the tides here in this match.
Oh, good close there from Yates Johnson.
Yeah, he recognized that Garnett was outstretched just a little bit, knew that was his moment to move forward. Excellent little drive and crash by Johnson there.
A couple of big forehands there from Susannah Barr. Ball's deep, and that's kind of what we were discussing, right? It's hard for Garnett to speed up on those lower balls, kind of below the knees.
Yeah, that's one where Johnson just basically said, if you attack this, I'm letting it go. If you find the court, too good.
Yeah, good ball there from Fudge, but not able to pick that one up down at her feet. I think Yates is questioning himself on that ball there on the sideline from Barr.
Yeah, great recognition by Barr, knowing that Johnson would be crashing middle. Just place that dink just enough behind him to get him moving the wrong way.
A good defense there from Fudge, just neutralizing the attack from Barr. So a better showing already here from Columbus in this mixed doubles matchup. Tough pickup there with the net in play for Fudge.
I think that's a couple of lines already by Susannah Barr early in this match.
And another net ball from Barr. Yeah, that's a good spot there from Fudge. You kind of see a little stare down of Garnett there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great ball. It is a little risky, though, if it's more of a dead dink behind him. She really wants that ball to travel into him. If it sits up, Garnett's going to do what he did there, and he's going to pull the trigger.
Ooh, almost got it back there from Barr, but very good attack and setup from Yates.
Yeah, if you're the bus here, next time you get into a kitchen point, I'd love to see Fudge not speed up behind Garnett, but dink back behind him. I think that she can open up the court that way.
Oh, that's a big forehand there from Garnett. And kind of what you were talking about, I was watching Garnett creep more and more to the middle and across.
The net lord, right on cue again.
I think that's number 6 already in 12 points. I like the switch there from Johnson and Fudge to put Johnson on the right. Just give it a little bit of a different look.
Yeah, I think what it allows is maybe some better counter punching, harder for Garnett to speed up, lined up with Johnson.
Oh, big swing from Barr. Doesn't get on top of it. Somewhat of a missed opportunity there. But Columbus holding on to a 2-point lead. That's a good ball from Yates.
Yeah, I like it. Went to the inside foot of Barr there, kind of daring Garnett to maybe overcommit. I think that's a great location that they should keep using throughout this match.
Oh. Tough. You know, Yates is crashing really hard there, kind of overcommitted on something that gave Barr so many opportunities.
Yeah, I don't think he thought that Barr would have a lot of options there, but she took her time with that, and she's, I think, 3 for 3 with going back behind Johnson successfully now.
Yeah, good ball behind Garnett there from Fudge. That ball floating deep. So Columbus up 11-7 here at the end change. Kyle, much better showing from Columbus coming into this one. They've got that higher energy that you were looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so much of it starts with that, right? Sometimes you can kind of, with strategy, kind of think your way into a hole. I think at times you just need to focus on playing and just focus on what you can control, which is that energy. They came out with some really strong energy, and they've kept that momentum throughout the start of this match.
So on the flip side for the slice, what do they have to do differently to switch this one back into their favor?
Well, I think they need to think about when they're taking risk. They've made a few unforced errors when they're completely in a position of strength and their opponents are all the way back. So I think there's times where you need to just, put a little more spin on the ball, play with more margin, and then there's times where you need to actually acknowledge that you're taking some risk. Right now, I think they're taking undue risk at the wrong times. We'll see if they can clean that up a little bit.
Well, we'll see if the slice can close the gap here. Fudge serving for Columbus, up by 4. Johnson typically doesn't miss that drive. One of the bigger forehands on the tours. Heavy, heavy topspin. Too good there from Garnett, but it was the pressure from Barr on Fudge for those 2 cross-court dinks.
Yeah, it's a great way to get your partner involved. You can go to the same location, but just be a little more assertive, go for a little more on your dinks. That allows Garnett to roam freely.
Big there from Garnett, and a good setup from Barr, utilizing that offensive lob over the backhand side of Fudge.
Yeah, she's showcasing some of the variety that she possesses. Fudge was content with just dinking up the line with her, but Barr has that ability to change direction in a lot of different ways.
Oh, too big of a swing there from Johnson. You see it, just that big, big take back.
Yeah, and we've seen players on this side miss some of those routine smashes a little bit long. You got to wonder, is the wind maybe playing a bit of a factor out here, or just is it the swing?
Good defense from Johnson. Barr seemingly in control of that point.
Yeah, and just tried hitting that one a little bit too hard based on the height of the ball. They were still in control, but I think all she could do really was take a little pace off and roll that at the feet, not attack it at the pace she was going for.
Yeah, good spot there from Johnson. Garnett trying to crash that kitchen again.
Yeah, Johnson keeping Garnett honest. Played a very aggressive dink out wide that got the initial pop-up and then rolled that last one out wide at the feet to get the point.
So Columbus back up by 2 after the slice. We're able to square it up at 11s. Yeah, I think a little bit with the end change there for Susannah Barr. It's kind of throwing her off a little bit with the adjustment of the wind. Good pressure from Garnett on Fudge.
Yeah, his court positioning right now is really making it challenging to play good thirds here for the bus. Yeah, like we mentioned, it's going to be important for the bus to keep Garnett honest. Great job by Fudge there, dinking back behind him, just wrong footing him a little bit there and earning the error on the dink.
Oh, Johnson overran that one, ended up in the kitchen, couldn't take it out of the air. We see him have to try to lock up. Wasn't able to do it. Fudge not in the position to recover either. Tentative on that two-hander from Yates.
Yeah, just looked a little indecisive on what exactly he wanted to do with that ball and ended up floating on him.
So the slice back within 1. 14-15. Wow. They called that before the ball bounced, and that was a lot closer than what they thought. So we've got a challenge here from Chicago Slice.
Yeah, off the paddle, it certainly looked like it was going to be out from Garnett, but he had a lot of spin on that ball, and it ended up landing very, very close to the court. We'll have a look here. I think Garnett's pretty convinced that he made that, so I'm very curious to see the replay.
I think lengthwise, it's good. Widthwise, oh, that's
wow.
I plead the fifth on this one as well.
I'm right there with you, Chad. I don't want any part of giving my opinion. This is as close as they come. This is when I'm glad we don't have any of the big decisions.
No decision. We can discuss it and still be wrong.
Exactly.
I think that.
I mean, it's tough to,
dude,
tough to see a lot of space, but it's as close as it comes.
Yates Johnson leans over the fence and he says, "Out" to us. I'm like, I'm not even going there.
He's trying to tell the wrong people right now.
I can't even tell if the ball bounces, Yates. Let's put it that way. Coach for Columbus, Paul Ellin. Hey, even if you can pay us as much as you want, we have zero control of that one.
Yeah, we're definitely the wrong people to bribe here. We're trying to be as Switzerland as possible right now.
So, listen in here to referee Laura Smart. She said, after video replay, the ruling on the court stands. The ball was out. So Columbus up 16-14. Yeah, good angle there to finish from Johnson.
Yeah, and I like that as he was moving forward, he went right at Garnett, knowing that at that point Garnett's trying to cover 75% of the court. Really easy to get overextended in that situation.
Oh, what a point there from both teams, but that two-hand backhand hold from Garnett, so deceptive.
Yeah, and if you're Fudge here, you got to make sure that when you go back behind Garnett, it has to be an assertive dink. If it's a dead dink that sits up, that's not a safety zone like it is for a lot of players.
So a couple of quick points here from the slice.
And that's that risk in the formation change of unwinding the stack off the return.
Oh, tough decision there from Fudge. Backed away from the kitchen, let that ball bounce, and didn't do much with it.
Yeah, sometimes if you don't see the pop-up early enough, all you can do is dink, and just too good from the slice there.
Barr trying to roll that one too much, missing in the net. So the slice bringing it back all square, and now the bus back up one. That ball's just wide.
It's a couple times that Garnett has gotten Johnson on that forehand side. Generally, we've got a little bit bigger motion on that wing. If you can disguise the speed up and go there, good time. If you can take your time away from your opponent.
Fudge standing a little tall in that exchange. The ball sitting up, giving Barr the attack. So, timeout here from Columbus Pickleball Club. Slice up 19-18. Difference maker here in this one for Chicago Slice.
Yeah, so to me, I would say, Chad, anytime you get to crunch time, the end of a match, I mean, it's less about, you know, problem solving back and forth. To me, this is about sticking with either what's been working or playing what you know are your own favorite patterns, right? It's going to be a small sample size of points. I'd say do what you're most confident with on either side. I do think it's important for Columbus here to keep Garnett honest when you can. Easier said than done. I think if Fudge is going to dink back behind him, it's got to be an aggressive dink. She can't be content with lifting it there. And then I like them using their drives a bit too, because right now Garnett is covering everything on those third shot drops. And so I like the idea of being aggressive with the drive as a way of getting to the kitchen line that way.
Yeah, I think I'd pick up in intensity again. Columbus has kind of got a little flat here the last few points. Good ball there from Garnett. Not a hard attack, but a very heavy spin attack is going to bring up match point for Chicago Slice. Oh, Barr went for it. Perhaps a little too much shoulder getting on top of that one.
Yeah, I think an off-speed attack was really her only play. If she was going to be aggressive there, tried to go full pace, and it didn't work out for her.
So Fudge calling that one out. Couldn't quite see over the fence here in front of us. I think we're going to have a challenge here. Garnett asking Megan Fudge if the sideline called it out for her, and she said no. I saw it. I called it out.
Garnett's coming to play today. I mean, off the court, he's one of the nicest young men out there. And today he's had a couple of come-ons. He's wanting to get through this one, Chad.
He actually, afterwards, he's like, I didn't even see it, so I have no idea, but I'm just asking you.
He's just making sure everything's fair.
I'm just planting. I'm planting seeds in your brain. So, discussion here between Laura Smart and Bob Swisshelm. Now, one of the new rulings for MLP Daytona is the players cannot ask the referees if they saw a ball in or out. And what we've seen throughout this one already is you can't ask the referee, but you can ask everybody else in the crowd on whether
right.
you should.
And I think that's what Garnett was making sure did not happen, right? We weren't asking for an appeal.
Take a look at that replay there. I am not going to stay Switzerland on this one. I think I can make the call on that one that the ball was out.
Yeah, definitely seems to be a space that's pretty apparent. A little bit of green there. Okay.
They're challenging that the ball was out. The call on court is out, and they're challenging the opposing team is challenging. Call stands. Okay, thank you.
So, quick decision on this one. I'm getting hit in the back here. I'm getting stuff thrown at me.
I know, Chad. Everybody's looking at us like it's our job to make the call from back here.
Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 referees out here on Grandstand court. Referees have done an excellent job the last 2 days.
Well, and I personally love the challenge system. I mean, we're getting a great vantage point on all the lines here, and at the end of the day, we're getting the calls right, and that's what the players really want.
So in this situation, Slice challenged the call. It did not get overturned, so they will lose the challenge. However, if they had have challenged the call and it did get overturned, they would keep their challenge and Columbus would lose a challenge. So there's a new twist to the challenge system here for MLP Daytona. And then if you are out of challenges, you can still challenge. But if you get the challenge wrong, you lose a point.
Right, we almost saw that happen yesterday. I think it ended up not being the situation.
It wasn't the situation. Right, it was at 21-20. Lee and I were on the call. We thought that they had used 2 of their challenges. And it's kind of like, do you challenge in that situation? You're at 21-20.
You got to be 100% sure, I think, in that situation. But
and you're out of challenges, and you use one, and you're wrong. Hey, it's game over.
It's a tough way to lose a match.
Yeah. Right. So, Megan Fudge serving here at 19-20. Both teams frozen. A good ball there from Barr.
Yeah, really maximized her lean there and caught that ball at the very highest point.
So match point here again for Chicago Slice. Now that ball sails deep with the wind. I don't think Johnson's even going to challenge that one. Is he going to challenge it? Is he not?
Yeah, it looked like he motioned to challenge it, but based on his body language, I don't think he really is convinced that that ball was in.
So we are having a challenge here from Columbus. I don't know. I just don't know.
Yep, I'm going back to Switzerland mode with you here, Chad. It's actually extremely close.
It's hard because there are times where like you skip a frame.
Right.
So we're still waiting on official review. We are not waiting on official review. So head referee Laura Smart, after the review, the call on the court stands. So Chicago Slice moving on to the semifinals after a 3-0 victory here against Columbus. I'm just going to pull up our bracket here.
And I thought the Slice did a great job in all 3 of their matches of coming out with energy, problem solving when they needed to, and ultimately just playing the big points a little bit better down the stretch.
So Chicago will move on to play against the #1 seed and defending champions Bay Area Breakers at 5 o'clock back here on Grandstand Court. But for Kyle and I, we are going to take a little bit of a break. We will be back at 1 o'clock with ATX Pickleballers taking on defending champions Los Angeles Mad Drops on the Premier side. We'll be back here at MLP by Margaritaville, Daytona Beach in just a little bit.